Hello and welcome everyone to Scott Schilling Speaks. I'm your host, Scott Schilling. Really appreciate you being here today. Have a great friend, Mr. Reader. He is the Guinness Book of World Record holder as the world's fastest speed reader. And with that comes speed learning and speed math and speed this and speed that. My good friend, Howard Berg. Howard, thanks for joining us here.
Thanks. You want to do everything fast, but a lot of things.
Exactly. So one of the things to set the, I'd like to set the tone on this is you read the entire Affordable Healthcare Act on Neil Cavuto's show in how long?
There's actually three bills. The first one, I think, was the Senate. It was 1,500 pages. That took 50 minutes. Then the second version was the House version. That was 2,000 pages. That took 58 minutes. And the combined bill was 2,600 pages, and that took an hour and a half. But I read all three, and then I explained what was in them.
That's and you got some calls from some of the senators and House,
Oh, see.
both sides, right?
Yeah, they called up. Yeah, they actually called up. Because I was telling what was in it. Nobody knew what was in it. I knew what was in it.
That's pretty amazing from that side. Now, how did you develop this ability to read so fast, and how can we help other people understand why it's important?
That's two questions, so answer one at a time.
Okay.
First one is that I grew up in Brooklyn in a very unpleasant area of the projects. There was a lot of gang violence, and I found the library was safe. No gang kid would be caught dead in the library. So I read a lot, and I had college reading when I was 11 because that's all I did. And then when I went to college at 17, I went to the State University of New York, Binghamton, and I went to major in biology. And my last half of my junior year, I got interested in how the brain works. So I decided to be a psychobiologist, not a psychotic biologist, but a psychobiologist. Psychotic biologist is Frankenstein's. Psychobiology is biology behavior. But I only had 1 year left. And the dean said, you'll have to do the whole 4 year psych program in 1 year. Take 6 science courses and 2 4-hour labs. And I had 3 jobs. I was working 18 hours a week. He says, you're not smart enough. And that's when I realized they never taught me learning. They taught you what to learn and why to learn, what when you don't learn. But you hear a song on the radio once, you know it your whole life. Then you read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and you don't know any habits the next day. So I learned how to learn. I got up to 80 pages a minute. I did the psych program in a year. I took the graduate record exam in biology, and I reviewed all the books. So it was like 48 books in 3 nights, like biochemistry, cell physiology, genetics, not light reading. And I got 3 questions wrong. So I was in the 99th percentile in the world. And then I wondered if it was me, or I found a better mousetrap that something people could use. So I started a school. We gave kids 11 to 15 the same system. And they did a 30 chapter book in lifelong developmental psych, which is a sophomore course in university. And they were 11 to 15 in a week. And 15 out of 18 passed the AP test in 1 week. And it told me that it wasn't just that I could do it, it could be taught. And that's what I've been doing like for 35 years now, is showing people how to do it. And you say, why? Well, more information is printed in a week than all human history through the year 1800. And every decision you make is based on what you know. Warren Buffett, uh, Jack Ma, Oprah, Bill Gates all read a book a day. Elon Musk reads 2 books a day. Look at their bank account. What does it tell you? And so if you want to be successful in a knowledge-based economy and stay ahead of the competition, it's all about what you know. Every decision you make is based on only one thing, what you know. And it comes from 2 things, the people you know and the books you read. That's it. That's where your information comes from. So if you can double or triple or quadruple the rate at which you learn, you're going to make more money. You're going to be able to make more decisions that make great outcomes.
Well, I think it's a great testament, as you say, Buffett and Musk and all the very wealthy folks read multiple books a day because they're taking that they're taking in that extra information, then they can process it around their decisions. So how can a not fast reader learn to read with comprehension so quickly?
Well, why don't I demonstrate it instead
That'd be
of
great.
telling them, show them? I think it's always better to show people how it's done than tell them it could be done. So I will get them started. And the first step is pick a book you've read, preferably a nonfiction. So the only way you get confused is you're going too fast because you already know what's in the book. And get a timer and read for a minute the way you normally do with a timer. See how far you go. Take a pencil, mark off where you finish. Well, that's how far I read now. Now the magic. Go to the second chapter. Take your hand and go across one line at a time with your eye following your hand. And this is the most important part. As fast as you could comprehend. So as long as you know what you're reading, go faster and faster till you don't. That's when you know when too fast. Because I should know what I'm reading. I know what's in the book. So now you know you went too fast. Slow down just enough. So your comprehension comes back. In 5 minutes, move that hand, eye following, as fast as you could comprehend. Not any faster, not any slower. Go to the first chapter. Again, time yourself for 1 minute with your hand going as fast as you could comprehend. You're going to be amazed. That little mark you put in, you're going to go 20, 30, 40% further. Just doing that one first step change. Of course, they want the full program. At the end, we have a link here that they can use and they can try the whole program. That'll get them 100 to 400% faster, but we don't have as many hours as it takes to do it right now. But this
For
is a
sure.
good first step.
Well, I know that I've done that. Last time we were together, you showed that to me, and it made a huge difference. And people say, why do you have all these books? Well, because there's information in them, there's knowledge in them, right? You want to take and get that, right? And so it's amazing how much you can improve. The average Joe off the street can get that much better now. But you talked about speed learning as well. What what's the difference between speed reading and speed learning?
Huge difference. Speed reading traditionally was terrible. Years ago, when MSNBC launched, I was interviewed by Dick Cavett. You probably remember him back in the day. Some
Sure.
of our younger viewers may not know who he is. He's sort of like Stephen Colbert is today, but he's many years ago. And we got to be friends. So I stayed after the interview and we were talking. And he said, years ago, I interviewed Woody Allen. And Woody took Evelyn Woods and said he read War and Peace, which is enormous, in 5 minutes. And he said, "That's incredible, Woody. What do you remember?" And Woody said, "It's about the Russian Revolution. That's all I remember." That was speed reading. It's a book about biology. I think it's a math book. You didn't learn. You learned what it was about, but you didn't learn what the information was. If you slowed down to learn a new name, a formula, a word, you lost your speed. It was the hand motions, just the hand motions I was demonstrating. So it became mechanical. And if you didn't keep it up, you lost it. And you lose it because you slow down to learn something. Well, I fixed it. I'm going to show you how in a moment. The guy who owned Evelyn Woods was Maurice Thompson Jr. He owned the company. And he had me teach his son my program and said, "You've gone past speed reading to speed learning, taking it in the 21st century. And the difference is reading isn't learning. If it was, everyone reading a book would get an A, and we know that isn't happening. Reading is a complex skill. You need to read to find what you don't know and need to learn. First, you have to know, what am I looking for, which I teach. I found it. I don't understand it. That's a different problem. It's like you read the calculus book and don't know how to do calculus. You read the book, you still can't do anything. You
Right.
learned the formula. How do you use them? I don't know. I just know what they are. How do you learn things once you've got data that made no sense? How do you remember it? It's great to learn, but if you don't remember it when you need it, it isn't going to do you any good. And probably one of the most important skills is how to stay in the right state of mind. Many people will learn, but taking a test, they get nervous. Or talking in public, they get nervous. Or that anxiety blocks their attention. They can't recall because they're nervous. So you need to know what to look for, how to find it quicker, how to analyze it to make sense of it so you can use it, retain it so you can recall it when you need it, and stay in the right frame of mind. So I'm going to show you how comprehension works. The key to comprehension is called schema. Schema is using what you know to learn something new. So I'll read a passage with no schema. It'll be confusing because there's no schema. That's what makes it make sense.
Okay.
Then I'll read it again with a title that has schema in only one word, and it totally makes sense afterwards. Here's the schemaless text. This is an easy thing to do. If possible, you could do it at home, but you could always go someplace else if it's necessary. Beware of overdoing it. This is a major mistake and may cost you quite a bit of money. None of those are big words, but you have no idea what I'm talking about. There's no schema. I'll read it again with a one-word title, and it has schema. And watch how instantly it all makes sense. Laundry. Laundry. This is an easy thing to do. If possible, you could do it at home, but you could always go someplace else if it's necessary. Beware of overdoing it. This is a major mistake and could cost you quite a bit of money. Confusion's gone. By teaching people how their brain makes sense of text and where the clues are, they can go 2, 3, 4 times faster in very technical material like science and math and law, accounting, and understand better than they did at the slowest speed, because they're not just drawing in lots of meaningless words, but finding the decoder ring that makes those words pop and have meaning and significance. And that's really what I've done that's very different than what was done in the past.
I know, again, last time we were together, I did some of that as well. Absolutely fascinating how you add a word or two and you give it that meaning so quickly. And then how does this all translate into even speed math?
Well, speed math's a different animal, but I teach it and I'll demonstrate it if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay. One of the reasons I teach it, by the way, is 38% of high school seniors can't count. That's an actual number. We're talking fractions, decimals, percentages in 12th grade. They do calculus in 7th grade in Europe. Our 12th graders can't do arithmetic, which is appalling. If you're going to be the world leader in technology, which is what our economy really rests on, how are you going to do that without people who can read, write, and count? So I'm going to give you a problem, and I'm going to just make it a simple one. 103 times 107. And just picture 103 on the top line, and then the times, and 107 and an underline. And you should have the answer right now in your head without a calculator. And it really is that simple, and I'll show you the secret. Both of these numbers, 103 and 107, are near 100. They're both bigger than 100. That's significant. You can't have one above and one below. So how much bigger than 100 is 103?
3.
How much bigger than 100 is 107?
7.
So next to 103, write the number 3 on the right. And next to the number 107, write the 7 on the right. So the two differences are under each other. And you just multiply those two differences. 3 times 7 is?
21.
You're almost done. That's the last two numbers in the answer. That's the hard step. Now the easy step is adding. Just adding diagonally. 103 and 7 is
110.
Or 107 plus 3 is 110. It's the same. Always. So pick the easier way to add. It's the same. 110, 21. 103 times 107 is 11,021. That's speed math. They say,
Wow.
why would I use that? Imagine you're a realtor, an accountant, a financial planner, and someone comes to you as a prospect, and you just did those numbers like that in your head instantly. You crunched the interest rate on the house in your head without a calculator, and you were right. What are the chances that person's going to look at you and say, that's the realtor I want? That's the accountant we need. It's an instant rapport builder. If you watch the news, whether you're a liberal or conservative, does anyone think our biggest challenge is too many smart people making too many good decisions? I haven't heard that on either side of the aisle. When you do something like this in your head instantly, how impressive is that to someone you want to do business with? It's an instant rapport builder. And plus, the benefit is numbers are really, really important in business. And when you learn how to do this in your head, you know your numbers. And that's really important to be successful.
Well, I think it's really interesting because, I mean, we were, at least I was after the abacus by a little bit, but then we got into, right, all of a sudden
Yeah,
getting into, my brother was in the slide rule group generation.
I was in that generation.
Okay. And so we kept on progressing, and then we came with the HP handheld calculator
I
that
had one.
wasn't really much of a handheld at that time. And then it came into calculators. But the reality is, so many of our youth today can't do math. I mean, they can't do it without a device of some sort.
Or even with it.
Or even, or even that's a good point. So again, this literally becomes a competitive advantage for you to be able to know something like this, right?
30% of all today's jobs will be gone in the next 10 years. And I can tell you which ones they are. Because of artificial intelligence exploding, trucks are going to be driven by robots. Why? I own a trucking company. Do I want someone who needs to take a nap, get a coffee break, go to the bathroom, needs vacation, needs payroll, needs me to give him vacation and sick days, or a machine that drives 24 hours in a row, never goes to bed, goes 7 days a week, round the clock? Or what happens to the 500,000 truck drivers when that happens? What are they going to do? Are they going to go back into being nuclear physicists? There's a
Probably not.
reason they're driving a truck. I mean, they work really hard, but they're doing that because they didn't want to become doctors and attorneys and things that had a different level of learning. And people who work as waiters and waitresses, banks, you go to a store, more and more kiosks, less and less people. Eventually, there'll be one person in all kiosks. They'll get rid of everybody. There's machines that are learning how to cook. There won't be people making the burgers anymore. And very soon, that's going to be in every restaurant. Waiters and waitresses will be robots. What are those people going to do for a living? These are the jobs people used to do with a high school degree without a lot of technical expertise. They would do labor kind of work. Well, if it's something that's repetitive, a robot will be able to do that, and you will no longer have that job. What the hell are those people going to do for rent and food? Someone's got to pay for that. It's going to be the people that have jobs. So my thing is, let's train these people how to learn, so they can go back and learn skills that are employable, that do make them successful. When many people try to make more money, the mistake they make, and this, you'll see it's the two common things, I work more hours
Right.
or work more jobs. No, you don't work more hours and you don't work more jobs. You get smarter and you make more money per hour and have more free time. I guarantee you, billionaires don't work as many hours as people who are digging trenches and building things with their hands. They're making a hell of a lot more money in a lot less time. It's about knowing something people will pay you for that you can live well on. And we aren't teaching that in school. We teach shut up and listen instead of grow up and lead. And my thing is teaching people to think so they can become independent and make their own decisions and have their own livelihoods in their own under their own control.
I know that you've had some extremely young students that have just prospered and actually gone to college early and graduated, and think of the dollar savings from that, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But
two
share,
years instead of 6.
yeah, share a couple of those stories if you would.
Well, Justin Brummett was an 11-year-old C student. They don't teach learning. We did. So he finished high school at 15, got his 2-year degree at 17, bachelor's at 19, master's in English at 21, English professor at 22, C student at 11. Stephen Terry graduated UTA at 16, 4.0. Economics degree, tough degree. Went to OU at 18 for a master's degree, not a bachelor's, in math, one of the hardest masters you could get. Graduates at 19 with a 397 GPA, professor at Yale. Micah Stanley passed the bar at 19 in California. Brad Voller finished 4-year college in 6 months. He went to an online school from Rutgers, Thomas Edison, did 5 AP tests a week and 1 online class. He became a missionary, learned Chinese in 3 weeks, and when he was 40, he sold his company for $38 million. So when
Wow.
people say, why the hell would I want to learn this? He sold his company for $38 million when he was 40. That's enough reason.
Yeah,
And
really, it's amazing. I've heard you tell those stories before, and when we've been at events together, and it's just phenomenal to think that the learning ability is there no matter whether they are younger or have
older,
been doing a task for a period of time and need to kind of be re-educated, right? And
yeah,
I
I had
think
an
probably we're
84
in
year
that
old.
re-educated mode a little bit more these days, aren't we?
Yeah, I had an 84-year-old in California, Ruth Lubin, read 3 books in 3 hours the day after I taught her. She was 84. It's not like she's a spring chicken. We had a group of kids, 11 to 15, different group. And one of the children's brothers, Erin, her brother had Down syndrome. And they wanted to try help find a cure. So they started a not-for-profit. They read how to make a website in a book by themselves, made a website, built the product, the public speaking, they taught themselves. And in the first year of business, these 11 to 15-year-olds made 93,000 US dollars in their first year. And they won the Silver Pyramid. That's the Oscar in advertising as the best not for profit in America. They beat Rotary, they beat
Wow.
Red Cross. They were 11 years old. Imagine if every child in America learned this skill, how much better our country would be, and how much of the problems we're seeing now in our country could be solved. I can't do it myself, but I can teach people how it's done. And so I feel my job, my karma, my job is to, it's not about me. It's about passing it on to the next generation. When I look at the problems we're giving our youth, global warming, exploding deficits, diseases that nobody expected coming out of nowhere. It's not going to be the last one. You know that, and I know that. We have to make them smart enough to fix some of the problems we're giving them. And we're not doing that, but we can. And that's really what I'm trying to do.
So how do we downstream this knowledge even further? How do we get it out to more people?
Well, they could go to my website, as you mentioned, with the link, and people want to contact me. I do webinars all the time to try to reach people and share as much as I can for free. And then when they get the program, we have a team that helps them learn it if they don't learn it. And if they don't help, I do personally, because I'm president of my Rotary Club and we're supposed to do what we promise. And I do it for a few reasons. One, you don't want to return.
Right.
That's not good in any business. But I also want to know what the problem is so I can fix it. In over 35 years, I made lots of tweaks. Most of the problems are gone because I figured I listened to what people told me and I changed things so they aren't having problems. I need to know if there's a problem so I can fix it. That's important. Listen to people. Doesn't matter what you know, it matters what they're learning. If they don't understand it, it's your fault. You're the teacher. Listen to what the problems are, fix it. And that's what I do. And if I can't fix it, I give them the money back because my feeling is you should get what you paid for. If I didn't give you what you paid for, then why are you paying me?
That makes a whole lot of sense. So
Yeah.
they can go to berglearning.com/a/Scott, and they can take advantage of even some discounts that we've
Yeah.
set up there
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely. And
for
some free
them,
lessons.
and some free lessons.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it will help them. It'll change their life.
So
And
so another example of just the value of any of the courses, just pick one that just stands out in the difference it has made going forward for that individual or their family.
Well, I wrote a book in 5 hours and it went #1 on Amazon the next day. So I have a program on how to eliminate writer's block and open up your creativity and get it done quickly. A lot of people, when they go to write, they can't think of what to say. They know they want to write something, but they just stare at a blank screen or pad and nothing comes out. Well, I developed a program to make sure that doesn't happen anymore. You know what you want to do and you're going to do it and get it done and get it done well. That's one program. I did that with kids again in school. They wrote, and this was a Judeo-Christian homeschool, it was online. So kids 11, 15 again, because that was the group that was in. Most of them were in college by the time they were 16, so that's why they were 11 and 15. So what they did is 28-page MLA cited reports on the Book of Matthew in 4 hours. And the person I worked with was a PhD in theology, and he was curious on how well these kids were doing. So he went to the dean of the seminary where he was teaching a graduate class, and he said, I have a bunch of papers to grade and I haven't got time. Can you help me? He didn't tell them it was the kids from the high school. He thought it was the graduate class at the seminary that was being taught, but he did that on purpose. And he came back and he said, well, how did they do? He said, well, 2 of these people got second-year graduate credit, and 2 of them got first-year graduate credit, but the rest, they got senior credit, and we're a graduate program. I'm a little disappointed. He says, well, the oldest person you graded was 15, and they were as young as 11. And I think senior college level writing at 11 years old isn't so bad.
No, I think it's amazing. I think that's another thing we hadn't talked about, speed writing and busting through the blocks. But I think that there's a lot of people that have, especially in this day and age, they have their story, and it makes them the best them they can be, the best individual. They've got their story. Everybody's story seems to have value to far more than just themselves.
What's even better, it makes you the authority in your field. Why do people get on television? Because they wrote books. So let's say you're a realtor and you wrote a book on how to get the best home value in the neighborhood and everyone's reading it. Who do you think the TV stations are going to want to put on when they have to cover real estate? The person in the area with the book.
Absolutely.
Whatever it is you're doing, you want to be an authority. You want to be the go-to person. I've been on about 2,000 shows actually at this point, but that's because I've published a lot and they know that I'm good at what I do. And that's how you get on. You write books, you write articles, and even if you don't sell the book, you give the book away. It's better than a business card. Someone reads your ebook, you can download it for free, and they say, wow, this person really knows what you need to know about a house. I think that's the real estate agent we should be using. I like what they do. I like how they think. Much better than a business card, and won't cost you anything. They download it, and it's a great gift. Plus, you collect their name and information when they download the book. So you can follow up and say, hey, how'd you like the book? You have any questions? Would you like to know anything else? You're building relationships. You're building your trust, your respect. Books, writing articles. Doesn't have to be Gone with the Wind. It can be 30, 40, 50-page ebook. As long as it's giving someone who needs a solution, the solution, you're building a relationship.
I think it's interesting you said that, because I say it a lot of times in my sales training. People make sales way too hard. It's really 4 words: identify problem, provide solution. And if you can do that in 30 some pages, it doesn't have to be a novel. It can be just the solution to a problem, which is saving time, energy, and money for somebody else, for sure.
It's brilliant, and you're completely right. That is, remember Zig? You know Zig. I used to lecture with Zig, and he said the best way to get rich is help other people solve their problems. He was right. And that is the best way. Help other people get what they want, and they will pay you to help them do that. and you're getting what you want, but in the same time, you're giving them what they want. And that's how business works.
Absolutely. So once again, you can go to berglearning.com/a/Scott. Howard has set up some special discounts for you there. Take advantage of them. I've been through the courses multiple times, actually. I go back and review them from time to time because I don't utilize them all the time. My bad, but also a friend of mine. So I get to, go back and learn from the best.
It's in
Howard,
109 languages now. We just upgraded it to 109 languages.
wow.
The reading program is it's pretty much anything someone speaks. It's in that language.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
How about one last tip for everybody before we go?
How much time do I have?
Whatever you want.
Okay, we'll do memory because I think
Okay.
that's a big one.
Sure.
So people will say, Howard, you read fast. Do you remember anything? Of course I do, but so can they, but they don't know how. So I'm going to show them one system, and I know you've seen it, but I'm going to give you 10 things to remember, and I know you know them, but the people watching don't. You want to remember pole, shoes, tricycle, car, glove, gun, dice, skate, cat, and bowling pins. And if you're a normal person right now, you remember 2, maybe 3, some people even 4, but that's about it. And if I said, give it to me backwards, there'd be very, very few hands up. Well, in just a couple of minutes from now, you'll know the whole list, backwards and forwards. And I'll also show you that this isn't an exercise, it's a tool and how to use it. So you're actually going to learn it. Here's a little tip. That's my dog, Mr. Q. You want to remember, you only remember 10% of what you read, but 90% of what you say and do. So when they ask you to say something, do it so it locks it in, so you actually learn the tool. Now, the ancient Greeks discovered a shortcut for memory. Take a list you know, it's hanging in your mind, and take the new list and hang it on that. It takes less time. And I'm going to bet if you're watching us now, you can count to 10. So we're going to use the 10 numbers you know to learn those 10 things super fast. Starting with the number 1, it looks like a pole, like a flagpole. So when I say 1, you say pole. 1.
Pole.
Remember to say and do with us. You'll learn it. 2 is shoes. That's how many shoes you wear. What's 2?
Shoes.
What's 1?
Pole.
Perfect. 3 is a tricycle. How many wheels on a tricycle?
3.
So 3 is
Tricycle.
2 is
Shoes.
and 1 is
Pole.
perfect. 4 is a car. How many tires are on a car? 4.
4.
So 4 is a
Car.
2,
Shoes.
1,
Pole.
3.
Tricycle.
I'm jumping on purpose. So you're associating. A lot of you are looking for your pictures. 5 is a glove. How many fingers are in a glove?
5.
So 5 is,
Glove.
3 is,
Tricycle.
and 1 is.
Pole.
Perfect. 6 gun. I know you're in Texas. People love their guns in Texas, especially 6 shooters. So 6 is,
Gun.
4 is,
Car.
2 is,
Shoes.
7 is lucky in dice, at least on the first throw. So 7 is dice. 7.
Dice.
5, giving you a clue.
Glove.
3,
Tricycle.
1.
Pole.
We're almost done. Rhymes work. Say 8 skate.
8. Skate.
What's 8?
Skate.
6, what did they love in Texas?
Gun.
4,
Car.
2,
Shoes.
last 2. 9 is a cat. How many lives does a cat have?
9.
What's 9?
Cat.
7's lucky in what game?
Dice.
5 is a
Glove.
3,
Tricycle.
1.
Pole.
Last is 10. 10 bowling pins in a lane. 10 bowling
Pins.
List. 1,
Pole.
2,
Shoes.
3,
Tricycle.
4,
Car.
5,
Glove.
6, Texas.
Gun.
7's lucky.
Dice.
8 rhymes with.
Skate.
9 is a.
Cat.
What was 10?
Bowling pins.
Perfect. Now you know how to speed learn numbers. Suppose you're at a hotel and your room is 314. How many times by the time you go to the lobby, you forgot your room number? It happens a lot when you're traveling all the time.
For sure.
Turn numbers to pictures. 3 is a tricycle, 1 is a pole, 4 is a car. Picture, tricycle hits a pole on a car. A tricycle hits a pole on a car. Tricycle, what number?
3,
It's a pole
1,
on a car.
4.
Tricycle, pole, car. Now, kids use it because it's pi. 3.14 is how you measure a circle. So young people use it for math and science, history dates, business people, due dates, percentages, phone numbers, room numbers. And the 0 is the 10 bowling pins because there's an alphabet in numbers which is 0 to 9. That's it. There's no other number. 0 to 9. And the 0's the 10 bowling pins. Now you know how to speed memorize numbers.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's funny when you said it and you started going through. I started applying the numbers the very first time when you were given the list. I started applying numbers, and I haven't thought about that in a couple of years probably.
Works. It
It's
works.
amazing.
Every time I go to a hotel, I turn my number into a movie, and I just play the movie back. And when I play the movie, I find my room.
Absolutely amazing. Howard, thank you for being here. Again, everybody can go to berglearning.com/a/Scott, get some special discounts. Love the memory exercise there at the end. A great way to leave it. We'll have to do this again. We'll talk
We
about
could
even more.
learn how to write and things that we didn't get into detail with.
All right. Sounds great. Everybody, thank you for joining us here at Scott Schilling Speaks. We'll see you again tomorrow, same time. God bless.